Welcome students. In previous class, we solved two example problems on simple air cooling system. As we know that simple air cooling system having one heat exchanger, one main compressor and one cooling turbine. In this, initially the air is compressed in diffuser. This is called the ram compression. And then the air is entering into the main compressor. The process which occurs in the main compressor is compression from ram pressure to main compressor pressure. Then the air is cooled in the heat exchanger by using a ram air, and the heat is absorbed by the ram air, and the temperature of the air which is coming from the main compressor is reduced at constant pressure. Then the air is expanded in the cooling turbine up to cabin pressure. After expansion in the cooling turbine, the expanded air is having a low temperature and at low pressure. This low temperature and pressure air is then entering into the cabin, at which the heat is absorbed from the cabin to produce the refrigeration effect. Then the air is exit from the cabin to the atmosphere again. The fresh air is taken by the aircraft. That means the simple air cooling system used in aircrafts works on open Bell-Coleman cycle. Okay, clear students? Today we are going to solve another remaining problems on the simple air cooling system. Let us go for the third problem on the simple air cooling system. Here, an aircraft moving with a speed of 1000 kilometers per hour, the aircraft velocity is given, uses simple gas refrigeration cycle for air conditioning. The ambient pressure and temperature are 0.35 bar and minus 10 degrees centigrade respectively. The air which is entering into the aircraft at 0.35 bar, which is very low pressure at that altitude, and minus 10 degrees centigrade, the temperature of air which is entering into the aircraft, which is moving at a speed of 1000 kilometers per hour. The pressure ratio of compressor is 4.5. The pressure ratio across the compressor is 4.5. The heat exchanger effectiveness is given as 0.95. This is the effectiveness of heat exchanger. This effectiveness is defined as the actual temperature rise divided by this, the heat exchanger effectiveness 0.95. It is the ratio of actual temperature drop in the heat exchanger to the maximum possible heat drop. That is a maximum possible heat exchange between two fluids to reduce the temperature. The isentropic efficiencies of compressor and expander are 0.8 each. These are the efficiency of compressor, main compressor and cooling turbine. The cabin pressure and temperature are 1.06 bar and 25 degrees centigrade. This is the cabin condition. Clear students? Determine the temperatures and pressures at all the points of the cycle. Also find the volume flow rate through the compressor. How much volume of air entering into the compressor at inlet and expander outlet. What is the volume flow rate through the compressor at inlet, that is at 0.1 or 2, and expander outlet. After expansion, how much volume flow rate is there for 100 ton of refrigeration. This is the cooling capacity in the cabin, 100 tons of refrigeration. This is the given problem. The velocity of aircraft is given and the ambient conditions are given. The pressure ratio across the compressor, effectiveness of the heat exchanger, then isentropic efficiencies of each turbine and compressor, the cabin pressure, the cabin conditions, and the cooling load in the cabin to be maintained. That is 100 tons of refrigeration. Okay, students, let us write the data. Given data is in the problem, velocity V is the velocity of aircraft with which the aircraft is moving in the air, or the velocity of air which is entering into the aircraft relatively, V equal to 1000 kilometers per hour. If it is converted into meters per second, 277.8 meters per second is the velocity of air with which the air is entering into the aircraft, or aircraft is moving in the air. Then ambient conditions, P1 and T1 is given 0.35 bar and T1 minus 10 degrees centigrade, at which the air is entering into the aircraft. T1 is 263 kelvins. And the pressure ratio across the compressor, that is the pressure after compressor divided by pressure before compression, that is called the pressure ratio, 4.5 is given in the problem. And effectiveness of heat exchanger is a new term, that is this effectiveness of heat exchanger is represented by epsilon H. Epsilon H is the effectiveness of heat exchanger. This is 0.95. This is the new term entered into the in this problem. The effectiveness is defined as the actual heat transfer divided by maximum possible heat transfer, or actual temperature drop divided by maximum temperature drop in the heat exchanger. Next, compressor efficiency and turbine efficiency both are same, 0.8 is given. And the cabin condition, which is maintained at P5 or P5 dash, which are same, 1.06 bars, and temperature at exit of cabin or temperature in the cabin is 25 degrees centigrade, that is 298 Kelvin. Then finally, the cooling load in the cabin is 100 tons of refrigeration, which is taken as a Q equal to 100 tons of refrigeration. This is the given data in the problem, third problem, which is running on the system is running on the simple air cooling system. Clear, students? First of all, we have to find the temperature and pressures at all the points of the cycle. Then only we can find the volume flow rate at each point of the compressor and expand. Let us go to solve the problem for the temperature and pressure at all the points of the cycle. This equation already we derived in the previous class. T2 equal to T1 plus V square by 2000 Cp. This is the equation we'll get by applying the energy equation between 1 and 2. That is the before entering into the aircraft and after entering into the aircraft, the energy equation, energy balance equation. By the energy balance equation, we will get the temperature after entering into the compressor during the ramming action. So T1 is given ambient condition, that is 263 kelvins, plus V is the velocity of the aircraft in meters per second, 277.8 meters per second whole square, divided by 2000 into Cp value is in kilojoules per kg Kelvin, 1.005. Clear, students? Total temperature after compression in the diffuser, which is placed in front of the aircraft, is 301.4 kelvins. This is the temperature after compression in the diffuser. From 1 to 2 is the compression in the diffuser. This T2 is determined now, 301.4 kelvins, P2 value. Then by using this P2, P2 by P1, we know that the T2 by T1 whole power gamma by gamma minus 1 is the adiabatic rule. From this, we can find the pressure ratio, that is P2 by P1 equal to P2 by P1 during this compression. T2 is the 301.4 divided by T1 is 263. By substituting the gamma value, then we will get the pressure ratio across the diffuser is 1.611. From this, P2 equal to P1 into 1.611. P1 is the pressure before entering to the aircraft, that is the ambient pressure, 0.35 bar. So 1.61 into 0.35, we will get the 0.564 bar. That is after compression in the diffuser, the pressure is 0.564 bar. Pressure rises from 0.35 to 0.564 bar. Since P3 by P2 is given in the problem 4.5, that is the pressure ratio across the compressor. This is the compression process in the main compressor, which is given is 4.5. Therefore, P3 equal to P2 into 4.5. P2 is the 0.564 into P 4.5. Then we will get the 2.54 bar is the pressure after compression process. This is the pressure line. 3-3-4 is the pressure line. This P3 is the 2.54 bar after compression in the main compressor. By using this pressure P3, we can find the T3 value. We know that for isentropic compression process 2 to 3, from 2 to 3, we can apply the adiabatic rule T3 by T2 equal to P3 by P2 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. From this T3 equal to, this is a P3 by P2 is given as 4.5 pressure ratio across the compressor, whole power 1.4 minus 1 by 1.4. This will get 1.537 is the temperature ratio across the compressor. Therefore, T3 equal to T2 into 1.537. T2 value is calculated earlier, which is 301.4 into 1.537. We will get the temperature at 0.3. After isentropic compression, the temperature of air is 463.3 kelvins. Clear, students? This is the T3. By using this T3 and efficiency of compressor, we can find the temperature of the actual compression T3 dash by using the compressor efficiency. We also know that the isentropic efficiency of the compressor eta C equal to isentropic temperature rise by actual temperature rise. Isentropic temperature rise from 2 to 3 is T3 minus T2 divided by actual temperature rise is T3 dash minus T2. So compressor efficiency is given as 0.8. 463.3 is the T3 as calculated earlier. This is T3, 463.3 kelvins. And T2 is 301.4 divided by T3 dash is the unknown parameter, which is to be found in this equation. T2 is 301.4. Then we will get from this equation, T3 is, after simplifying this equation, we will get the T3 dash, that is the actual temperature rise in the compressor, is 503.8 kelvins. Clear, students? This is the temperature of air after compressor, actual temperature of air after compressor. Then effectiveness of heat exchanger. Look at this. Effectiveness of heat exchanger is represented by epsilon H. Epsilon H formula is actual temperature drop in the heat exchanger divided by maximum possible temperature drop in the heat exchanger. Actual temperature drop is in the heat exchanger is from 3 dash to 4. That means T3 dash minus T4 is the actual temperature drop in the heat exchanger. And maximum possible drop in the heat exchanger means the air is cooled. The compressed air at the place of 3 dash, the temperature is after compression, the temperature is T3 dash, which is cooled by using the ram air, which is at a temperature of T2. That means the temperature of compressed air can be cooled up to the temperature of ram air, that is T2. So maximum temperature drop is T3 dash to, this will goes to T2. Up to T2, we can cool by using the ram air. This is the maximum possible cooling process in the heat exchanger. Therefore, T3 dash minus T2, this is the temperature at T2. By extending this line up to T2, that is the maximum possible. So T3 dash minus T2 is the maximum temperature drop in the heat exchanger. So T3 dash minus T4 divided by T3 dash minus T2 is the effectiveness of heat exchanger. That is 0.95 is given. T3 dash is 503.8. T4 is the unknown parameter. This is the temperature of air after heat exchanger. And remaining parameter T3 dash and T2 is 301.4. From this equation, only unknown is T4. Temperature of air after heat exchanger, we will get the T4 as 311.5 kelvins from this equation. Okay, this is the temperature after heat exchanger. And P4 equal to P3. We know that the pressure is constant during the heat exchanging process. P3 dash or P3 or P4, both are same. These constant pressure line, same pressure, P3 equal to P4, which is 2.54 as earlier calculated. The students, are you get it? Now, isentropic efficiency of the expander. After getting the pressure and temperature before the expansion, after getting the pressure and temperature before expansion, that is at T4 and P4, we can calculate the temperature at T5 by applying the adiabatic rule. That means T4 by T5 is equal to P4 by P5 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. P4 2.54 bar or P3 is 2.54 bar, and P5 pressure at 0.5 is the cabin pressure, which is equal to 1.06 bar is given in the problem. Okay, so by substituting the adiabatic rule formula, that is the turbine efficiency equal to actual temperature actual drop in temperature divided by isentropic drop in temperature. In this, we know that the temperature T5 is, here one equation is missed. That is the T4 by T5 equal to P4 by P5 whole power gamma minus 1 by gamma. From that equation, we will get the temperature at 0.5 after isentropic expansion is 243 kelvins. So by using the adiabatic rule, we will get the temperature at 0.5, T5 is 243 kelvins. And the isentropic efficiency of the expander, by using this efficiency, we can find the actual temperature drop in the turbine. T4 minus T5 is the actual temperature drop divided by isentropic temperature drop in temperature T4 minus T5. By substituting all the values in this equation, we will get the temperature of air after actual expansion, the turbine, cooling turbine. T5 equal to 256.7 kelvins. This is the minimum temperature in the cycle, which the air which is at T5 dash is entering into the cabin. These are the pressures at each point and pressure and temperature at all the points of the cycle. Then second bit is volume flow rate. Volume flow rate at inlet of compressor and at outlet of expander asked in the problem. So at inlet of compressor, the condition is 2. So V2 is the volume flow rate to the compressor at inlet, and V5 dash, phi dash is the condition of air after expansion in the turbine, cooling turbine. Therefore, V5 dash is the volume flow rate to the expander outlet. These two are the parameters which are going to find in the second bit. We know that the mass flow rate of air is the formula 210 into Q by Cp into T6 minus T5 dash. That means MA Cp into temperature rise in the cabin will get the cooling load. The cooling load is given as 100 tons of refrigeration, 100 into 210 kilojoules per minute. Therefore, from this, MA equal to 210 into 100 divided by 1.005 is the specific heat of air, and temperature in the cabin 298 kelvins minus T5 dash is the actual temperature before entering into the cabin, 256.7. So mass flow rate is 506 kg per minute. This is the mass of air which is passing through the cabin is 506 kg per minute. From this mass flow rate, we can apply the gas equation at the state point 2. That is at inlet of the compressor. P2 V2 equal to MA into R into T2 is the temperature at inlet of compressor. Therefore, from this gas equation, ideal gas equation, V2 equal to MA RT2 by P2. MA is the mass of air entering into the compressor, 506 kg per minute into 287 is the value of gas constant for air, and the T2 temperature at inlet of compressor is 301.4. Then pressure at inlet of compressor is 0.564 into 10 to the power of 5 newtons per meter square. As we calculated as P2 as we calculated the P2 pressure at point 2 as here 0.564 bar. P2 value is 0.564 bar. It is in bars. If we convert the bar into newtons per meter square or pascals, that is 0.564 into 10 to the power of 5. Then we will get the volume of air entering into the compressor, that is 776 meter cube per every minute. For every minute, this much of air volume of air is entering into the compressor. Clear, students? Similarly, we can apply the ideal gas equation at outlet of the expander. P phi dash into V phi dash is equal to MA into R into T phi dash. This is the PV equal to MRT at phi dash state. Therefore, from this, V phi dash is equal to MA R T phi dash divided by P phi dash. As we know that the mass of air entering into the compressor is also entering into the turbine. Both are equal. So MA is 506 kg per minute into R is the constant of gas constant for air is 287. And temperature after expansion in the turbine is 256.7 kelvins divided by pressure of the cabin, which the air is expanded up to cabin, the pressure up to pressure P phi dash, which is 1.06 into 10 to the power of 5. That is, pressure of cabin is given as 1.06 bars. So 1.6 into 10 to the power of 5, we will get the newtons per mm square. After substitution of all the values, we will get the volume flow rate across the turbine or across the cooling turbine. That is 351.7 meter cube per minute. For every minute, this much of volume is entering or leaving from the cooling turbine expander. These are the volume flow rate across the compressor and turbine. These are the temperature and pressure to all the points of the cycle. This is the third problem. Those three problems are related to simple air cooling system. Let us explain. I will explain another system, simple air evaporative cooling system. This is the small modification for simple air cooling system by providing an evaporator after heat exchanger, which is located between heat exchanger and cooling turbine. This is the evaporative vessel in which the evaporative liquid will be stored. That evaporative liquid having the less boiling point, by absorbing the heat from the air which is passing through the evaporator, it will be evaporated towards the evaporated and sent to the atmosphere. Generally, water, SO2, these are used for the evaporative liquid, ammonia, water, alcohol. These are the liquids are used as evaporative fluids or evaporative liquids. Let us look this simple air evaporative cooling system. Earlier, I explained that air entering into the aircraft through the diffuser. This is called the ramming action or ram air. Some of the air after ramming is diverted towards the heat exchanger, and remaining air will be entered into the main compressor. In the main compressor, the air is compressed and which is sent to the combustion chamber. Some of the air is sent to the combustion chamber to produce the thrust, and the remaining air, the rest of the air will be diverted towards the heat exchanger to cool the air. Clear, students? This air is cooled by the ram air, which is taken from the aircraft after compression in the diffuser. After cooling the air, compressed air, that cooled air again entered into an evaporative vessel. In this evaporative vessel, during this flow of air through this evaporative vessel, the vessel having the liquid having low boiling point, the heat will be absorbed by this evaporative liquid which will be stored in the evaporative vessel. During this absorption process, the air is further cooled. The air coming from the heat exchanger is further cooled in the evaporative vessel. After low cooling in the evaporative vessel at constant pressure, the air is again expanded in the cooling turbine, in which the pressure will be dropped. Finally, we will get the low temperature and pressure after cooling turbine. That low temperature and pressure air will be sent to the cabin. This is the air to cabin after expansion. The work produced by this turbine, will run the fan. That fan is coupled with the same shaft of the turbine. This fan is, the function of fan is to circulate the air across the heat exchanger thoroughly to increase the heat transfer rate in the heat exchanger. This is the cooling air fan. After entering into the air which is sent to the atmosphere. Clear, students? The air which is cooled in the heat exchanger up to this is same as a simple air cooling system. In simple air cooling system, the air after the heat exchanger directly sent to the cooling turbine. But in this system, air evaporative cooling system, in between cooling turbine and heat exchanger, another vessel, evaporative vessel, is provided to increase the heat transfer or to reduce the temperature of air. So a simple air evaporative cooling system is shown in figure. It is similar to the simple cooling system, except that the addition of an evaporator between the heat exchanger and the cooling turbine. Between these two devices, the evaporative vessel will be provided. The evaporator provides an additional cooling effect through the evaporation of a refrigerant such as water, in which the evaporative liquid, generally water is used as evaporative liquid. By absorbing the heat from the air, the water will be evaporates and sent to the atmosphere. At high altitudes, this aircraft moves generally at higher altitudes. That at that higher altitude, the evaporative cooling may be obtained by using alcohol or ammonia. At higher levels, alcohol or ammonia will be used as evaporative liquid to absorb the heat from the air. The water, alcohol, and ammonia having different refrigerating effects at different altitudes. At 20,000 meters height, that means at 20 kilometers height, water boils at 40 degrees centigrade. Water boiling point is 40 degrees centigrade at this much of height because of at a higher altitude, the pressure of atmosphere pressure will be decreases. At lower pressures, the boiling point of water also lowers from 100 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade. And alcohol having the boiling point at 9 degrees centigrade. And ammonia boils at minus 70 degrees centigrade. These are the boiling points which are used as evaporative liquids to absorb the heat from the air. Dear students, this extra evaporative vessel will be provided in between the heat exchanger and turbine. What will be the advantage of this evaporative vessel? It can be easily understood by this TS diagram. It will be cleared from this TS diagram. This is 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression in the diffuser, and 1 to 2 dash is the actual compression in the diffuser. From this actual compression at exit of diffuser, the air entered into the main compressor. Is similar to the air cooling system, simple air cooling system. From this, the isentropic compression 2 dash to 3, and if we take the actual cycle, 2 dash to 3 dash is the actual compression in the compressor. The final condition of air after compressor is 3 dash. From this 3 dash, that will be entered into the heat exchanger here. After compression, the air is entered into the heat exchanger. In this heat exchanger, the temperature of air will be reduced from 3 dash to 4. From 3 dash to 4. 3 dash to 4 is the temperature reduction in the heat exchanger by using the ramming. Then further cooling process takes place at constant pressure from 4 to 4 dash in the evaporative vessel by using evaporative liquid. This is further cooling process represented by 4 to 4 dash. But actually in simple air cooling system, from 4 itself, it will be expanded. It will be expanded from 4th to 4th stage. But in evaporative cooling system, simple air evaporative cooling system, a further cooling process takes place. After further cooling, the expansion process will be occurs. Due to this air evaporator, the final temperature of air, this is called the DART, D-A-R-T. I explained earlier at the starting of the chapter, air cooling system, air refrigeration system. This 5 dash is the, actually it is denoted as DART, D-A-R-T, dry air rated temperature of turbine. This is the dry aerated temperature will be minimized by providing the air evaporative cooling system when compared to the simple air cooling system. Clear, students? The dart can be reduced in this cycle when compared to the previous cycle. Before entering into the cabin, the temperature of air will be minimized. So 424- is the air evaporative. Further cooling process takes place in the air evaporative vessel. And 4-25 is the isentropic expansion in the cooling turbine. 4-25- is the actual expansion in the cooling turbine. And 5-26 is the heat absorption in the cabin at constant pressure, at cabin pressure. 5-6. The various processes are same as discussed in the previous article, except that the cooling process in the evaporator is shown by the 4-4-. This is the only the process will be differ from the simple air cooling system. Okay, this is the extra process will be occurred in the evaporative vessel when compared to the simple air cooling system. If Q tons of refrigeration is the cooling load in the cabin, then the air required for the refrigeration purpose is as the formula which is located, written here. MA equal to 210 Q by Cp into T6 minus T5-. This is the same as earlier I was explained that MA is the mass of air entered into the cabin and the specific heat of air which is entering into the cabin into temperature rise across the cabin is T6 minus T5-. This is the amount of heat extracted by the refrigeration system in the cabin. Clear, students? This is the amount of heat extracted by the refrigeration system in the cabin. Also, this is called the cooling load or refrigeration effect. This refrigeration effect is given as in Q, in terms of Q. Q is also a tonnage of the system or heat extracted by the refrigeration system in the cabin. So this equation must be equal to the Q. Q is in ton of refrigeration, 2 tons of refrigeration. If it is multiplied by 210, then we will get the in kilojoules per minute. So from this equation, MA can be written as 210 into Q divided by Cp into T6 minus T5- kg per minute. This is much of amount of air which will be entered into the cabin for every minute. Then power required for the refrigerating system. How much power is required for the refrigerating system? We are giving the power for the compressor to compress the air from the ram air to the main compressor pressure. Ram pressure to main compressor pressure. To do that, we require the power for the compressor P equal to. So power formula, that is work done during the compression process is mass of air entering into the compressor and specific heat of air into temperature rise across the compressor. This is from 2- to 3-. So T3- minus T2- is the temperature rise, actual temperature rise across the compressor. Therefore, MCP into T3- minus T2- is the work required to the compressor in kilojoules per minute. Divided by 60, then we can convert it is kilojoules per second or kilowatts. So power required to the compressor is MACP into T3- minus T2- by 60 in kilowatts. This is the equation to calculate the power given to the air evaporative cooling system. Clear, students? And COP of the refrigerating system, COP is refrigeration effect divided by power or work done in kilojoules per minute. So refrigeration effect, that is the cooling load in the plant, the cooling load in the cabin is Q. Q into 210 is kilojoules per minute divided by work required to the compressor is MCP into MACP into T3- minus T2-. This is the COP. So MACP into T3- minus T2- can be written as from the previous equation. MACP into T3- minus T2- can be written as P into 60. So this is P into 60. 210 into Q by P into 60 is the P is the power in kilowatts. Q is the cooling load in the cabin in terms of refrigeration. Then we will get the COP of the system. Simple air evaporative cooling system. The initial mass of evaporant, that is ME, how much mass of air, mass of evaporative liquid, this is provided in the evaporative cooling. This is the ME, which is located as, which is denoted by ME. ME required to carry from the given flight time is given by how much mass of that is evaporative liquid is required is amount of heat absorbed. This is the heat to be removed in the evaporation in kilojoules per minute. How much heat is removed by the air from the air, QE, and time, that is the time of flight time in minutes. Therefore, kilojoules per minute into minute, then we will get the kilojoules. This much of heat can be extracted in the evaporative vessel, divided by latent heat of vaporization of evaporant, which is used in the evaporative vessel. Okay, it is in kilojoules per kg. This is the latent heat. ME into HFG, the total amount of heat extracted or total amount of heat absorbed by the evaporant is equal to amount of heat rejected by the air. So amount of heat absorbed by the evaporant is equal to amount of heat rejected by the air. QE into T. Q is the heat to be removed in the evaporation. Therefore, we can calculate the amount of evaporative liquid is required is QE into T divided by HFG. So initially, we have to carry this much of evaporative liquid from the towards along with the flight. Clear, students? These are the formulas which are used in the air evaporative cooling system. The first three formulas is as same as that a simple air cooling system. The last formula which is used to find the amount of evaporative liquid which is to carry along with the flight. Clear, students? Next class I will discuss the worked example for this simple air evaporative cooling system. Okay, students, bye. I'm closing this class. Have a nice day.